This is the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus model, which is a computer that I am holding in. So basically it has a processor with input-output peripherals, and you can expect this to do all the stuffs which your basic computer does with some constraint. Obviously it has no graphic card, so let me show you the structure embedded here. So this is the basic model which you have with motherboard integrated with USB peripherals, general purpose input output pins, and it has HDMI input interface and 3.5mm jack. You have 40 pins as GPIO along with VCC and ground as well. So what is this? This is the computer which I am holding it, and by connecting it to display, keyboard for USB ports, and then you can integrate with mouse and make a setup of computer which you will be using as your desktop. And you have different versions of Raspberry Pi 3B Plus modules, like you have Raspberry Pi 0, Raspberry Pi Model A, Model A Plus, Model B, Model 3B, Model 3B Plus. So the latest one I am having is Model 3B Plus, which has RAM of 1 GB, and storage depends on the SD card that you put on it. It has a slot for SD card as well. And then further moving on, it needs a power supply which you can give it from your normal phone adapter. Then it has 40 general purpose input output pins. So basically in Arduino we have pins, right? Digital input output pins as well as analog input output pins. In the same way we have this for Raspberry Pi, which by using this we can interact with circuits for giving pulse width modulation, analog input output, digital input output, and we can connect it wirelessly to LAN, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So basic difference between the Raspberry Pi Model 0 with the advancement of technology, obviously the speed, CPU, like the Cortex, like the cores of the process have been evolved, and the operating frequency. Obviously the Raspberry Pi had a RAM of 512 GB, Raspberry Pi 0, while Raspberry Pi 3B Plus has RAM of 1 GB. And till Raspberry Pi 3B the boards were not having a feature of Wi-Fi, and it was introduced in Raspberry Pi 3B Plus module. This is one of the main advantage, that's why I went for Raspberry Pi 3B Plus models. And also we can see the improvement of speed of transfer when you are connected to Bluetooth, that is improvement in Bluetooth versions. And also Ethernet facility, it has Ethernet cable interface which was introduced after Pi 0. So all the Pi models have Ethernet except Raspberry Pi 0. So I said it's a computer, so in order to run a computer you need operating system, right? So on what operating system does this Raspberry Pi run? So the best recommended operating system for Raspberry Pi is Raspbian, which you can download easily from its official website. Or if you want, you can use your Windows operating system or Ubuntu. It's up to your comfortability, but I would recommend Raspbian OS to download, which you can easily get, and you have to install by using SD card or USB by booting them. It has few procedure which can take some time, some good amount of time. So I would prefer it to use my laptop for screening the information of this board, and using the laptop keyboard for as a keyboard for this Raspberry Pi. So let me explain what are the things actually are present in Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So if you have a closer look, it has an HDMI, that is high definition multimedia interface, using for transmitting uncompressed video data to the computer monitor, digital TV, etc. Then it has CSI camera interface which provides a connection between the Broadcom processor and the Raspberry Pi camera, and it also has display interface used for connecting LCD to the Raspberry Pi using 15-pin ribbon cable. And now you can see power LED. It is a red colored LED which is used for power indication. So basically it is connected to 5V directly and will start blinking whenever the supply voltage drops below 4.63. Then you have active power, which is green LED, which shows that the SD card is actively working, and you have 14 pin header, which you have general pin input output. So in order to understand the GPIO, you have to study about the 40 pins, because different pins have different configuration as well as the function will be different. And also you have to study about the 14 pin header, because different GPIO pins have different functionalities, and you have to note where you will get 3.3 volt as well as 5.5 volt. And you can see from this diagram that each pin has been different name, and upon that you have to mention those pin names in your code, like we used pin number 8 in our code. So I hope you are now familiar with the components or the parts that are present in Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So now let's have a look at the coding part. So this 40 general purpose input output pins, that is 40 pinouts are present, so that you can interact with circuits, isn't it? So on which language are we coding this Raspberry Pi? So the answer will be Python. So basically Raspberry Pi runs on Python. Like for Arduino, we have different Arduino IDE which is similar to C programming. For Raspberry Pi, we do Python programming, where we give the functions of each pins that we are going to use, whether it's an output pin or input pin or pulse modulating pin. I'll explain you the simple example of Python.